This video provides an overview of how to set up and connect a community with the CAPXLV2 access control system. This video is intended for demonstration purposes only. The procedures demonstrated should only be performed by trained professional installers and service technicians. Safe operation and servicing requires that you follow all instructions and safety advisories found in the manual. To locate a trained professional installer or service technician, go to liftmaster.com/locate-a-dealer. Your installation will be broken down into three main activities: assessing the site for requirements, pre-configuring the CAPXLV2, and installing the CAPXLV2. Part of the configuration process involves setting up the community database in the MyQ community web portal. Details for that part of the process are covered in a separate video. You'll find the video on the LiftMaster partner portal at this web address. Let's start by looking at the requirements at the installation site. The pre-install site checklist is the best tool for ensuring you gather the information you need for success. Download it from the LiftMaster partner portal at this web address. Then, head over to the job site and walk through the pre-installation survey form item by item. Here are some of the things you'll need to check out. Talk to the IT team about their network setup and the bandwidth requirements for video. For best performance, the superior quality video of the CAPXLV2 requires a robust internet connection with ample bandwidth. For each installed CAPXLV2, LiftMaster recommends a minimum upload speed of 5 megabits per second. This means an installation with two CAPXLV2 controllers should plan to provide a minimum upload speed of 10 megabits per second. Additional bandwidth may be needed considering usage of other devices on the network like cameras and computers. There are other network considerations, and we'll cover those later in the video. Wi-Fi and high-speed wired internet are both acceptable methods for connecting the CAPXLV2 to the internet. Upgrading a phone line to DSL is an acceptable type of high-speed wired internet. Cellular service is not recommended for video applications. Network proximity is another consideration. For Ethernet connections, the CAPXLV2 location must be within 300 feet of the network switch or router. For Wi-Fi connections, the signal strength must be sufficiently strong. Wi-Fi extenders should be avoided because they introduce latency and can negatively affect video quality. For Wi-Fi installations, make note of the network name and password. The CAPXLV2 is not limited to controlling access at building entrances. If the installation site is a gated community where gate operators will be controlled, make sure the physical location meets UL 325 and ASTM F2200 requirements where these standards apply. If you will be powering the controller using AC power, there needs to be a dedicated 120-volt AC outlet rated for 10 amps. Appropriate grounding must be available. Check for a ground rod or acceptable alternative. Identify the relay-controlled devices for securing entrances, such as magnetic locks and door strikes, and Wiegand or OSDP devices, such as smart readers on doors inside the building. Be sure to confirm the compatibility of these devices or gate operators for applications at community entrances. After concluding the site survey and prior to arrival for installation, work with the community manager to make sure all required wiring is routed. An important next step is to get the community set up in the MyQ community portal. This setup must be completed on your account. Visit the partner portal to watch the overview video for a walkthrough of the process. Pre-configuring the CAPXLV2 at your workshop allows you to connect online, load the MyQ community database, and test the controller. You'll need an Ethernet or Wi-Fi network connection, a computer with internet access, a MyQ community account with your dealer owner or dealer technician login credentials. Let's talk about what comes in the box. The system includes the CAPXLV2 access control panel, the AC power supply, the radio antenna with cable, keys, assorted hardware and electronic components. You will need to supply any hardware needed for mounting the CAPXLV2 at the site. The included antenna is for use with applications where remote controls are being used. For gated communities where remotes are being used, follow the instructions in the manual for connecting the antenna. Since we are demonstrating a flush mount install at an apartment entrance, the antenna is not used. Let's start with power wiring. Unlock the CAPXLV2 and open it. Locate the main board. Locate the power input connector. Notice the markings showing plus and minus, and observe the orientation of the terminal block. You need to make sure you connect wires for the correct polarity. Remove the terminal block. For installations where a wired Ethernet connection will not be used, power must be supplied using the provided AC adapter. Observe the stripped and tinned red and black wires. Loosen the screws in the terminal block. Insert the red wire into the terminal block hole that aligns with the plus terminal on the board. Insert the black wire into the other hole. Tighten the screws to secure the wires. Reattach the terminal block to the power input connector, making sure the red wire aligns to the plus terminal and the black wire aligns to the minus terminal. Plug the power supply into a 120-volt AC outlet. The green LEDs on the door boards and main power board will blink, and then the green LEDs will light solid when fully powered up. For installations where a wired Ethernet connection will be used to connect to the internet, the AC adapter is not needed. The CAPXLV2 can be powered using Power over Ethernet. Locate the LAN port on the main board. Connect the Ethernet cable from a hub, switch, or route to the LAN port. See the manual for more information about Power over Ethernet. When a connection to an active network device is established, the green LEDs on the Ethernet port will light up or flicker. Close the cover. The CAPXLV2 will display the MyQ logo. When the boot up is complete, you'll see a welcome message with the LiftMaster logo and the control panel code. Make a note of the code. This also appears on a label inside the CAPXLV2. To confirm the camera is working, press Exit to be taken to the home screen. You will see live video on the home screen. To switch to admin mode, press the 3 dots in the top right corner. When prompted for a password, enter the number 8 6 times, then press Enter. This PIN is the default and might be different if an admin has changed the PIN during setup in the MyQ web portal. To set up the network connection, tap Continue to Network Setup. You'll be prompted to select the network type. There are 3 options: Wi-Fi network, wired network, which configures automatically, and manual setup of a wired connection. On the display, select Wired Network, then tap Continue. The screen will update to show network connection status information. Tap Connect. It's time to connect the controller to the MyQ Community Portal. This is done by logging into the MyQ Community Portal and following the steps for adding a device. Once you've added the CAPXLV2 as a device on the community account, you will be able to see the firmware version in the MyQ Community Portal. Select the device and go to Advanced Settings to update the firmware. Once the firmware is up to date, complete the required database setup in the MyQ Community Portal. This includes activating licenses for the MyQ Community app and setting up the doors and zones. When you are done, the CAPXLV2 will download the directory for the community and will be ready to receive calls and grant access. Refer to the MyQ Community Overview video for details. Let's test the access from the CAPXLV2 touchscreen. First, test the access code. Press Entry Code. Enter the PIN you assign to yourself. Press Enter. Access will be granted. Next, test the directory. Press Resident Search. Search for your name and place the call. When your phone rings, answer the call. Press number 9 to grant access. Access will be granted. To test the full functionality of the MyQ Community Resident app and mobile credentials, you will have to have done the following: downloaded the MyQ Community Resident app on your mobile device, activated a license for your use of the Resident app, enabled mobile credentials for the CAPXLV2 controller in the MyQ Community Portal, enabled the mobile credentials in your MyQ Resident app. See the MyQ Community Overview video for details. Test access in the MyQ Community Resident app. Open the app. Locate the button for the door you are testing. Press Hold to unlock. You will hear the relay click in the controller. The app will confirm unlocked. You will be granted access. Mobile credentials offer several ways in. Test alert mode. Move 20 feet away from the CAPXLV2. Approach the CAPXLV2. When you get within range, a notification will pop up on the MyQ Community app. Tap the notification. Press the button that allows you to hold to unlock the door. You will be granted access. The CAPXLV2 does not show visual confirmation that access was granted. Test the tap mode. Tap your phone against the CAPXLV2. Access will be granted. The CAPXLV2 does not show visual confirmation that access was granted. Now that you've successfully pre-configured the CAPXLV2, disconnect all wires and repack it for transportation to the job site. As you learned during the site survey and preparation, the CAPXLV2 installation requires a variety of wires, including power, relay connections, grounding, internet, and accessory cables. When you arrive at the job site, make sure these wires are available and ready for connection. Open the door and lay the CAPXLV2 face down on a flat surface with the door hanging off the edge. Use the packing material such as the box it was shipped in. Identify which knockouts need to be removed based on your application. For this installation, we'll punch 4 knockouts for mounting and the center knockout for wiring. Use a small punch tool and mallet to carefully tap the knockouts. Use pliers to remove the metal knockout tabs. Be sure to check for and remove any loose bits of metal debris from inside the cabinet. There are several ways to mount the CAPXLV2. Many gated entrances will have the controller mounted to a pedestal. Many building entrances will mount the controller to the surface of a wall or in a recess in the wall. For the best presentation, mount the CAPXLV2 in a recess with the trim kit. It consists of the back box and the trim plate. The knockouts on the trim kit box align to the knockouts on the CAPXLV2. Position the trim kit back box in the recess, pulling the wires through the center hole. Use shims if needed to achieve the proper alignment and level. Mark the hole locations for the mounting holes. Install the required hardware. Be sure to include wall anchors if mounting into concrete. The trim kit box and the CAPXLV2 will use the same mounting hardware. Place the trim kit box into the recess. Open the CAPXLV2 and place it inside the trim kit box while pulling the wires through the center knockout. Be sure that all the mounting holes align. Secure everything to the surface using the appropriate hardware for your application. Stainless steel hardware is recommended. Use of zinc-plated or galvanized hardware is not recommended because of the risk for rusting. Proper grounding protects the CAPXLV2 from damaging electrical transients. Be sure to check and follow all national and local codes for proper grounding procedures. For this demonstration, a ground wire has been provided. Connect to the ground pin inside the CAPXLV2 cabinet. During your pre-installation survey, you confirmed the power source for the controller. For this installation, we will be connecting to the internet via Wi-Fi, so we need to use the AC power supply connected to a dedicated 120-volt AC outlet rated for 10 amps. Identify the power wiring leading from the CAPXLV2 mounting location. Connect the power wire the same way as previously demonstrated during the pre-installation setup. Attach the power wires from the CAPXLV2 to the wires on the AC adapter, being careful to observe the correct polarity. Plug the power supply into the dedicated outlet after all connections have been made. After the CAPXLV2 boots up, confirm the camera is working correctly when you see yourself on the home screen. Switch to admin mode. Press the 3 dots in the top right corner. When prompted for a password, enter the number 8 6 times, then press Enter. Let's get the network connection set up. Since we already demonstrated the wired network connection, let's set up Wi-Fi. Tap the System drop-down menu. Tap Network. Tap Network Settings. Tap Change Network Settings. You'll be prompted to select the network type. There are 3 options: Wi-Fi network, wired network, which configures automatically, and manual setup of a wired connection. Choose Wi-Fi network. Choose the network for the site. Enter the network password. Once connected, you will see the connection status screen. Next, disconnect all electrical power to the CAPXLV2 and any powered accessories such as gate operators and door locks. This is very important, especially to prevent access devices like gate operators from being activated unexpectedly. Next, let's connect our relay outputs to the access control devices. For the purposes of this demonstration, we will be connecting the main entrance magnetic lock to relay 1, a mailroom door strike to relay 3, and the fitness center door strike to relay 5. Remove the connectors from the board and wire appropriately using the common pin and either the normally open or the normally closed pin for each relay. Let's wire the inputs. The main entrance will be controlled by the CAPXLV2. No additional Wiegand input is needed. Because we have wired the main door magnetic lock to relay 1, Wiegand connector 1 cannot be used for any other devices in a basic setup. Our mailroom door strike is wired to relay 3. This means the smart reader for the mailroom must be wired to Wiegand input number 2. Follow the instructions for specifics about the wiring connections. Our fitness center door strike is wired to relay 5. We must wire the fitness center smart reader to Wiegand input number 3. Once the wiring is completed, return power to the controller and the devices. Follow the instructions for configuring a basic setup in MyQ Community. Watch the configuration video at this web address. Another way to connect these same smart readers is the OSDP connector. Instead of individual OSDP connectors for each device, there is one connector that allows connection of 4 devices in a daisy chain. Please watch the in-depth advanced configuration video for a demonstration of OSDP wiring and configuration. Once everything has been set up, perform the same functional tests as before. This time, include all the devices around the community that are connected to this CAPXLV2.